Good evening, Conversation 3 students. This week's topic is It's Written on Your Face. We're going to talk about body language and how to interpret what people are like just by looking at their face, even if they don't say anything. Before they say anything, it's sort of like an impression thing. Before we get going on that topic, let me just quickly say I'm going to do another update. We had an April update at the beginning of the month. Things are starting to change for the better, actually, which is good news. But there's some difficult decisions that have to be made. Administration is making their own policies and giving professors a little bit of choice, which is nice. I have to make a decision very soon, this weekend, basically about what to do for the rest of the semester. So my plan is to just make a short video, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to upload it. It's going to be the same for every class. I'm going to have the same policy. Chances are that we will not be in the classroom for a midterm. So basically, any midterm that was planned is probably going to be canceled or replaced by something else, or partially replaced. And the exam hopefully will go forward the way we want it to. But most professors are just canceling the midterm completely. In terms of grading and everything else, you're just going to have to sit tight and wait, because I don't know. I'm going to tell you as soon as I know, but I don't, because they haven't told me yet, and it's not my decision. So look for the update. That'll be done over the weekend, and I'll upload. It's going to be a very short video, and it's going to apply to every class I teach, which there are 7 of them, including you. Secondly, this weekend is our makeup class on Saturday. So this weekend you must log in. So tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to upload this lecture, and then, which is chapter 4, week 5, chapter 4, and then tomorrow from Friday night, midnight, until Sunday midnight, you have 2 days to log in and get credit for watching the video and getting the instructions for week number 6, because that's our makeup class. That goes right back to the beginning of the term. The first Friday of the term is being replaced by this Saturday. So please don't forget that. The window is this weekend and then it's closed. Okay? So do that. Now, when we say it's written on your face, we're basically saying that your emotions are showing by what's happening with your eyes and your nose and your mouth and the muscles in your face. I want to talk about, right away, what we call a poker face. Or you can, the poker face expression is more common or famous now because poker has become such a popular sport. I shouldn't call it a sport. It's really a game. It's gambling. But some people like to call it a sport. In Canada, they show poker. The reason I call it a sport is because in Canada there's a sports network that carries poker games, and in the middle of the day when there's no sports happening like hockey or soccer or basketball or something like that, baseball, they show poker. It's not a real sport because it's a mental exercise. But if you think esports is a sport, if you think League of Legends, the old LOL, which a lot of Koreans like to play, or any of those other Overwatch or any of those other sports, esports, if you think that's a sport, then of course you got to admit that poker could be too. Now, when you're playing poker, you're not physically doing very much. Most of what you do, the physical aspects are controlling what you look like. So all kinds of poker players, usually they have, the successful ones usually have, I don't want to say eccentric or weird or different personalities, but they have sort of a character. So if you see the famous poker players, a lot of them, some of them listen to music while they're playing. Some of them have, a particular hairstyle. Some of them have a certain fashion, like they have a cowboy hat or sunglasses or something like that, or particular facial hair. If you look at the final table, the people don't look like, well, these guys all went to the same high school. That high school I mean, they're good at poker at that high school, and they got the same haircut, and they dress the same. They're usually very diverse in terms of, which is not really, I mean, if you think of most other sports, think about any sport. If you look at, hockey, for example, you're going to see a lot of big, strong, usually, from Canada, United States, Sweden, Russia, tall, brown hair, blonde hair, dark hair, doesn't really matter, but they're similar body types, and a lot of them are handsome, whatever, but they have the same kind of. We have something called hockey hair, for example. They're not that different from each other. Obviously, when they put on their helmets, they look different, but their behavior and their approach to hockey is very similar. And if you want to be really good at hockey, I mean, you got to have that similar attitude. But I don't know. It seems like poker is one of those things where you can. It's almost a benefit if you have some kind of quirky personality. So, but the main thing is, doesn't matter what your style is when you're playing the game. People can't look at you and know what you're thinking. Unlike me, because like if you make me upset, if you make me sad, I'm going to cry. If you make me angry, my face is going to turn red and I'm going to yell. If you make me happy, I'm going to have a big smile. My eyes are going to widen. Or if you make me scared, I'm going to, you'll be able to see. And that's what written on your face means. And if you have the control to have a poker face, you might inside just be freaking out. You might be overreacting inside, but nobody can see because on the outside you're a robot. And that's what a poker face is. I love the French expression facade as well. And a facade is usually a building, which is not the real building. It's just the fake front. But you can, as a person, you can also have a facade. And if you have a facade, that means that you're basically showing something that's hiding, that there's something else behind it, right? Something else is hidden, whether it's intentional or not. It's just what you show is not the same as what's behind or inside. Okay? That's facade. I should have wiped my board so I could use it today, but you can see the board is there. I got the board and I wrote a bunch of stuff on it, but then I realized I need to get the camera closer to it so that you can actually see it and some other things. So next class or next lecture, hopefully that'll be ready to go. But there it is. It's pretty small. But, well, it's there hanging. Don't look at it closely. It's not really set up properly yet. I was trying to set it up, but I ran out of time. Okay, back to the topic. What do I want to say? Another thing that's used. Okay, so we say in poker, we say, if you can see what somebody's doing, we say you read the person. That's called a read, right? Like reading a book. So when you read a book, you can understand what the book says. You can read a person. You can understand what the person's personality and behavior are like. Okay? What you're trying to find out is whether the person is telling the truth or they're lying. And in poker, that's called a bluff. Right? So when somebody says you're bluffing, usually that means you're saying you have something, but you really don't. Okay? So if you say, if you don't pay me back, I'm going to break your legs. And I'm trying to be serious and threaten you. You're like, Jeremy, I don't believe you. You are not a gangster, and you're not going to come after me and break my legs. So I'm not going to pay you back. You're bluffing. That might be a pretty serious, violent example, but that's basically what a bluff is. It's saying that you have the ability to do something when you really don't. And if you bluff well, the other person believes you, and they say, okay, here's your money. And if they don't believe you, then they say no. And if you call somebody's bluff, that means you say you're bluffing. But the dangerous thing, obviously, is if you call somebody's bluff and they're not bluffing, then unfortunately your legs get broken, if that's what the bluff was, right? In poker, it's just you call the bluff, they say they have high cards, but they really don't. And then you win the hand. But if you call the bluff and they actually have, let's say, two aces, the best possible combination, then you're in big trouble and you're probably going to lose all your money. That's why I don't like poker. I'm not good at it. And I'm not a gangster either. If you want to be that kind of person, you have to have that ability. And I don't know, some people seem to have a natural ability with it, but obviously you can acquire it as well. I'm not saying go around and break people's legs. I'm just saying that kind of stuff because I've watched these shows as an adult. You're all Conversation 3 students, so you can handle this. And actually on the YouTube video, we're safe because I actually always change the setting so that it's not for kids. So no kids can watch this lecture. So it's okay if I say this stuff. But The Sopranos was a very famous American drama about gangsters, and one of my favorite movies is The Goodfellas. Everybody loves The Godfather. You watch any of those movies, this is the kind of thing that goes on. People who are in the mafia have to do these kind of things. They have to say they're going to do things and actually do them some of the time to make sure everybody believes that they're going to do them. And that's part of the way that you play poker. I'm not saying play poker because gambling's addictive and it's not good for you, but when you play with somebody else, even if it's just for fun and it's a little bit of money just for fun on the holidays or whatever, that's the way you gamble well, is that you make people believe that you have something when you don't, and then you can take advantage, even if you're unlucky. All right. Now, that's what you call bluff. And if I reveal that I'm bluffing, which is my problem, that's called a tell. So when you watch, you'll see sometimes people, every time I get some good cards, my eyes narrow, and I go like this. And I say, call. And you're like, Jeremy's bluffing. Because every time he makes a bet and he doesn't have good cards, he strokes his chin and looks carefully, and that's a sign that he's signaling to you that he's doing something. That's called in poker, that's called a tell. Now, you can take this beyond the context of gambling, because I'm not doing a gambling class here. It's conversation. But these words get used all the time in any situation. I use the mafia example as well, but hopefully none of you are in the mafia or related or involved with them. But in general, you do these kind of things all the time. It doesn't matter. Politics, for example, you can use these words. You can use these words for anybody, okay? So, body language is also important, right? When you are doing certain types of body language, people can also understand what you're doing. So, and what you mean by that. If you approach somebody and you want to greet them, it depends on the culture, but you might, in Western culture, you might offer your hand as a handshake, right? If you are in other cultures, you might bow, or even you might get close to somebody and kiss their cheek, sometimes twice or 3 times or 4 times, depending on what part of the culture you're involved in. In French, that's called la bise, right? Faire la bise means to do the kissing on the cheeks. Nowadays, obviously, this is not a good idea to show intimacy by handshaking or touching or anything. That kind of body language or signals are discouraged, as you all know, because you have to keep 2 meters away from everyone. So all of those things that we've been doing for years and years. I teach the British and American culture class too, and when you talk about things like the plague or the Black Death is a particular plague, but like other diseases and stuff, if our ancestors had known this behavior, they probably would have done social distancing too. Like on many of these things that we've developed, where you're just touching each other all the time, we probably would have stopped if we had realized how how much that would have helped us not getting sick, we probably would have stopped a long time ago. There's always an argument that you need to get exposed to viruses and diseases, otherwise your body gets weak. So that's another argument, but with the coronavirus, it's too dangerous for us to just say, okay, get it, and then you'll be stronger if you survive. But that's not the approach that anybody's taking, because it's too deadly and too easily transmissible. It spreads so easily that we're going to end up, if everybody gets stronger, there's going to be, 5% of the entire world's population is going to be wiped out if the rest of us make it through this thing. So, yeah, all these intimate things are kind of discouraged, or I'm not even sure. I haven't heard exactly. Towards the beginning of this thing, you may know that, Korea is doing very well. We're something like, in terms of active cases, we're something like 45th, 44th, 45th in the world. It changes every day, the ranking. But in terms of how many people are actually sick in Korea, we're below 40. And at one point, we were number 2, right? It was China and then Korea number 2. And that's how far we've come, that's how far we've dropped down the list. And you obviously want to be lower. High ranking in this situation is not desirable. So part of that is due to the fact that a lot of things that people have done around here, including masks, whether it actually blocks the virus or not, but not touching people, staying away from people, wearing masks, not shaking hands, and not actually physically contacting anyone, has been one. In addition to all the equipment and the government's effort and so on, the quarantining and everything else, I know there's all the kind of factors involved, but the culture of not physically, signaling anything except for at a distance is something that Korea adapted to very quickly. Now, you may know that Spain and Italy are still, the United States is rapidly taking over top spot for, the most desperate situation in the world. And I don't want to talk about that situation because there's all kinds of politics involved, and it's just a disaster. Doesn't matter what your opinion is about the leader or the government or whatever. They just completely mishandled the whole thing, and everybody's angry at everybody over there. So I'll stay away from that. And Canada has a huge problem because the United States has a problem, and Canada is intimately connected to the United States. So their problems always become our problems too. So I do have a personal, opinion about this, but I won't talk about it. Nonetheless, Italy and Spain still, at the moment, have experienced an even worse situation than the United States in many ways, because their populations are lower. So the number of cases is lower, but the proportion of people is higher. So really early on, some Italians took this quite seriously and others did not. And, the government was not able or didn't act on it quickly enough the way we did in Korea. And the same thing happened in the United States. It was just, they hesitated because they didn't want to damage the economy. And some people were sick, but they didn't want to overreact. So this kind of situation happened. So I'm going to share with you a video. It was shared, this is a month ago now. So this is right when Italy started to become one of the worst hit places in the world. Like, started taking over and almost passing China in the number of cases. I think they did for a while before the United States took over top spot, but Italy might still be second. And people were questioning, like, why is Italy in big trouble? So people all, came to their own conclusions, but, culture has a lot to do with it. And so this Italian grandmother made a video, which is pretty hilarious, where she just basically scolds all the Italian people and, gives her strong advice about how to behave. Because, what can I say? A lot of Italian people are very independent and they have strong personalities, and I think that's a good thing. That's why Italian people are interesting, and that's why the culture is so diverse and vibrant, because Italian people don't want to be told what to do by other people. So I think they have a bit of a natural resistance to just being told to stay at home. There's two videos here. The first one is the Italian grandmother kind of scolding, but being pretty nice about it, in telling people what to do so they don't get sick. And then I'm going to show you another one which went viral really quickly because the Americans saw it, and I find it funny. It's kind of tragic and scary and funny at the same time. It's a bunch of Italian mayors. It's just a sequence of them, and this is all, they say everything in Italian, so everything's in subtitles in English. So if you want it in Korean or your own language, you just have to find it yourself, which is fine. But I will link it, the Italian with the English subtitles. And the mayors they've had enough. One of the mayors says something like, why is everybody jogging? Why is everybody running? Why does everyone want to do a marathon running? 1 month ago, nobody wanted to jog, but now you all want to be marathon runners. Just stay home. Just don't choose a hobby that involves being out in public and exposing yourself to everyone. In Italy it got pretty extreme where people, police were chasing people out of, parks having picnics and stuff because nobody would follow what the recommendations were. So, I find it is funny. That's why it went around all over the place. But it's not funny because the mayors, they're serious. They're angry. One mayor says that you want to have a graduation party because you do. If you're graduating from high school, you want to have a graduation party. If you're a class of 2020 and it's the spring and you finish university, you want to go out with your friends and drink and dress up and have a party and like congratulate each other and wear the fancy hats and the gowns and everything, and have Steve Jobs do the commencement speech for you and everything, but they can't. It's all canceled. But this mayor said, if you want to do that, that's fine. Go have your graduation party, and we will send the police with flamethrowers and we'll burn everything. That's what he says. That's not a joke. I mean, he's not going to actually do that, but he's just trying to impress on people how serious it is. So that's called social distancing, right? But anyway, you need to have the ability, coming back to the main topic, to look at somebody's face, look at somebody's expression, even though it's cross-cultural and it's a different language. Have a look at the videos and look at these people and see what you can pick up from them. I think the grandmother is having a little bit of fun. It's hard to tell. I think the Italian mayors look genuinely mad, but you be the judge. I'm not very, as I said, I'm not good at bluffing. I'm not really good at reading, so I suck at poker. That's pretty much the long and the short of it. But so for this week's assignment, I want you to talk about some sort of body language or impression. You can talk about your culture, something you do, because la bise is a French expression, and the kissing and everything. Do your own research, find out some information. I talked about poker today, so I'm talking about facial expressions, and I'm relating it to poker. That was my story I told you. It's much longer than 2 minutes, but all you have to do is do about a half a page, like usual, and talk about how you communicate using signals in your facial expression or some action, behavior, physical. It doesn't even have to be touching, right? It can just be looking at somebody. It can even be far away. If you want to talk about people doing flag signals or something like that, that's your choice. Anything is fine. I usually choose a particular example, and today my example was the poker face, and you know, the Italian gestures. It's sort of related to the kissing and the, well, there's other gestures too they like to do. I'm not really good at that kind of stuff, but choose something like that. Get a little background, put it into context, explain to me, what it means and why people do it, and for example, if it's something that it's popular to do, or it used to be popular, or it's insulting, or it's not good behavior, like just don't do it. Like the Italian grandma says, don't kiss each other. You have to wink. That's what she says. Just give the wink. Give the wink. If you can wink, that's what she suggests. No kissing, no hugging, winking. That's what she says. So she's having a bit of fun with it. But anyway, you can roll that into your answer if you want. So take something that's an impression that you get from physical signals in some shape or form, and explain about that. And that is your assignment for this week. I will talk to you again tomorrow night when I record your makeup lecture. So that's all the news, and that's the topic for this week. I hope you enjoyed the lecture as usual, and I'll see you again in 24 hours. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.